YouTuber McJuggerNuggets, real name Jesse, got into controversy last week after he and his pregnant wife put out a video finding out that their baby may actually have Down syndrome. And in response, they decided to abort the child, leading to huge waves of anger and criticism online. Some online responded by saying that eugenics is based and they would do the same thing, like Asmongold, with pro-lifers and even Boblacks saying that aborting a child because they have Down syndrome is wrong and ableist, with of course arguments just against abortion in general. Jesse, of course, doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on his decision, saying that he's not a Christian and he doesn't believe it's murder, and that there's not anything wrong with what he did, that it's simply a choice, and he's been receiving tons and tons of unjustified backlash. But there's lots to get into, so let's just jump in. Welcome to the internet versus McJuggerNuggets. It starts when the clip of him and his wife finding out the baby has Down syndrome goes viral. Fearbook tweets out part of the clip with the caption, "YouTuber Jesse Ridgway and his wife revealed they had an abortion after learning their unborn baby had Down syndrome."
Here we go. Thought we're gonna see the result. I have to download the official report. Abnormal insight result. Consistent with trisomy 21. No.
What is it? Wait. Where are you seeing this? Oh.
No.
Let me see. I can't see it.
It says abnormal insight result. Blah, blah, blah. Showed 3 chromosome 21 signals consistent with trisomy 21 Down syndrome. Genetic counseling is recommended. Pattern consistent with trisomy 21. Hey. Not the result we wanted to see, guys. I started to get kind of a not good feeling just when the results were sitting here. That's why I didn't want to open them. I started to feel really uncomfortable about it. Just kind of in shock, like, truly. We talked before this, guys, about what would we do if we confronted this scenario, because this was the more likely scenario. We talked about terminating the pregnancy. Obviously things could change because this is traumatic, like very traumatic, and I know you guys even watching this, this is traumatic for the whole community. I think now that we have a definitive result, we'll talk with these counselors and we're gonna have some hard conversations.
Typically, if the initial FISH result shows trisomy 21, the final full karyotype or microarray analysis also confirms it in more than 99% of cases.
It's just all very overwhelming and confusing to navigate. Ashley is almost halfway through this thing. Not saying we force it, but like the kid seemed healthy, and there's been stories where the kid comes out and is like super functional, and so it's like, I don't know. There's just a lot to digest, and we're not really gonna be doing that in this video. We just wanted to let you guys in on what the results were. Where's your head at? Just sad. Just things have been pretty dark for a while for us, and we thought this was gonna be a nice little ray of sunshine, and it's not. Sorry to be crying, dude. It's a lot.
Oh man. I bought boy clothes because I was so sure that it was it. I had the nursery picked out. I was ready. I was ready. I gotta start all over again. The start of our journey, you know, of just trying to start a family. This is how it starts.
I know it's hard to look at like silver linings, but I mean, the fact that you can get pregnant is good. We weren't sure, and it was, bro, it was instant. We don't know why this happens. Maybe it is a birth control over a decade. Maybe it is just random genetic sequencing and it glitches, you know, just like cancer cells. Like sometimes it's just, we don't know.
Insensitive Society says some stuff really needs to stay private, man. Nautic says allowing a child to be born with such disabilities is worse than murder in my opinion. And Loki Stone says congrats. Your argument is that people with Down syndrome should not exist. So we shall euthanize those that do, since their existence is worse than murder. And Nodix says, no, that is not my argument at all. My argument is knowing your unborn child has a life-altering disability that forces them to be under constant care and supervision their entire life is selfish and worse than murder. If you think otherwise, there is something wrong with you. And Loki Stone replies with this picture of a pro-abort and eugenicist next to each other saying, it turns out we actually agree on a lot of things. JK replies to the clip by saying, the comments are going to dog them for this, but it's objectively better than them having a disabled child they're not able to care for or just aren't willing or interested in caring for. And Lemon says, yeah, let's just kill unwanted kids. Woohoo, great idea. Not. Adoption is an option no matter how many mental gymnastics you jump through. And JK says, they didn't kill a kid, they had an abortion. And yes, if any woman gets pregnant and doesn't want to have a child, she should have an abortion. And Clara says, biologically at fertilization, a human being is created. So abortion is directly killing a person. And specifically, they are a young human being. So an abortion kills a child. In this specific case, the baby boy was around 21 weeks, which is when the most premature baby was born. Poppy replies to the clip by saying, people who don't do shit for alive people with Down syndrome acting like this is immoral. Kevin Sorbo quote tweets Fearbuck's clip by saying, for anyone confused, they murdered their child because they were told he might have a defect. It's that simple. Stop trying to justify killing humans because they aren't right in your eyes. And Nolan replies, not a single person here would step up to provide care for a disabled person indefinitely. And Curly Poodle says, you are an ignorant fuck. Babies with Down syndrome are gobbled up in the foster care system. In fact, they are the most wanted children in the system and people are going abroad just to adopt kids with Down syndrome. I'm a parent of a child with Down syndrome. Google it. Imperium First quote tweets Fearbuck by saying, aborting your unborn child and posting your reaction for clicks online is the most evil shit I've ever seen. Drama Alert also tweets out the same clip, and JTG replies, not sure I can blame them for that. That is really what the tests are for. Genetic anomalies. Nerdrotic quote tweets Drama Alert by saying, shame is a valuable tool that isn't often used enough. Fucking disgusting. For the love of God, don't have any kids if you feel this way. This couple of twats isn't qualified to have a goldfish. Kayla says, her body, her choice. Don't put anything about your pregnancy or your children online. This woman's trauma did not have to be content. This happens when you have content brain. Bo Black's quote tweets Drama Alert by saying, if you aren't willing to become a parent of a child with Down syndrome, you shouldn't be a parent, period. Recording, editing, and uploading the react as a video is very weird behavior as well. I also hate that Jesse compared having Down syndrome to having cancer. Super ableist in my honest opinion. Also saying we were hoping for a ray of sunshine and this is not it is crazy, considering all Down syndrome people I've ever seen or known are literally the happiest rays of sunshine ever. McJuggerNuggets also made a tweet on his page after some of the backlash, saying, this week, my wife and I made the very difficult decision to terminate the pregnancy due to trisomy 21. The choice was not made lightly. We really appreciate all of the personal stories that you guys shared with us, especially the unconditional support we received from fans with no matter what we decided. I know some of you may be very disappointed to hear this news. We are devastated. This has been extremely traumatic for both of us, especially Ashley. She underwent the procedure earlier this week and is on the mend. Thankfully, everything went smoothly, but emotionally we are drained. Trisomy 21, also known as Down syndrome, is caused by an extra chromosome. It is caused by an error in cell division, like a glitch. The odds of a baby having it is 1 in 1,000. When I first confronted this news, I was shocked but optimistic. If they're a little slow intellectually, then we'll make it work. I signed on to be a parent, come what may, but I just didn't fully understand what Down syndrome entailed. Once we made it public, it became clear that most people don't know what Down syndrome entails, and no, it's not the same as autism. 50% of babies with Down syndrome have heart defects, 75% will have hearing challenges, over 50% will have vision problems, impaired immune function, developmental disabilities, learning disabilities, delayed physical development, poor muscle tone, structural issues with face, decreased lifespan, etc. Sadly, the list is long, feel free to look it up. Down syndrome isn't a blessing, it is objectively shitty from a health perspective. I didn't realize just how rough it is for the child, let alone the family. More often than not, they would be fully dependent on others for the rest of their life. The miscarriage risk is also close to 50%, which made matters worse. They may never see the light of day and it puts Ashley farther at risk. We spoke with doctors, friends, family, and genetic counselors and learned that up to 90% of women terminate their pregnancy after learning the baby has trisomy 21. This was way higher than I expected. I thought it would be lower given that I hear so many say they kept or would keep the baby. I believe that's because most terminations happen privately. It feels shameful. A lot of judgment being cast. You never think you'd be in this type of situation until it happens to you and then things change. To all of my fans who have weighed in on this topic who have autism, Down syndrome, or any other conditions, we appreciate you. You matter a lot and we're glad you're here. I commend you and your families for having the strength and courage to push forward. As for us, us, we made a difficult decision that we believe in the long run will be beneficial for our family. Thankfully, we had a choice. It will take a little time to move on, but we are excited to try again in the future and hopefully have a better outcome. Love you guys and thank you for understanding. And Asmongold replies, based, I'd kill the kid too. Down's syndrome is a lifelong impairment and it would be better if no one had it. Being able to control and filter out these defects is better for everyone. Common eugenics W. And Arahant replies, there's definitely a better way to say this, my guy. And Asmon says, I avoid using euphemisms or soft language because I believe it obscures the nature of the truth. People use a soft language to hide from being accountable to the reality of their own actions. And Arahant says, fair, but the guy just lost his kid. And Asmon says, he didn't lose his kid. He killed his kid. Zach replies to Asmon by saying, I know someone who was told her child was going to potentially have Down syndrome. The kid is 100% fine. Abortion is evil and the doctors who push it are demonic. Vito replies to the post by McJuggerNuggets with this screenshot saying, if you were in Iceland, nobody would second guess your decision. And it's Google AI saying, in Iceland, Down syndrome is nearing eradication due to widespread prenatal screening and selective termination. And Sean replies, yeah, they murder many fetuses in Iceland. And Vito says, eugenics is the way. Harry Sisson replies to McJuggerNuggets by saying, you made a decision that was best for you and your family, and that's the only decision that matters in this scenario. Any loser trying to chime in is out of line. Retard Finder replies to McJuggerNuggets by saying, absolutely horrible. The fact you thought it was acceptable to even share this is weird. You are a monster. And Evan Loves Worf replies, your entire account is a slur against people who have what the fetus did. And Jazzy says, you care more about a slur than a disabled baby being murdered. Megan Basham replies to McJuggerNuggets by saying, imagine the message you are sending right now to every person with Down syndrome around the world. You are telling them that their lives are not worth living. You are telling them that if their existence is an inconvenience for someone else, that person should have the right to kill them. This is a horrific post, and I hope you come to see that someday soon. And Boomer Pilled says, why don't you adopt a Down syndrome child to send the right message then, you absolute fucking hack? And Fast Rail says, oh, you don't think we should kill the homeless? Why don't you let a homeless person live in your house then, you absolute fucking hack? And Boomer Pilled says, the fact you think a germ and a homeless person deserve the same level of rights is not a mistake. And Fast Rail says, it's the scientific consensus. Attaching a screenshot saying, overall, 95% of all biologists affirmed the biological view that a human's life begins at fertilization. Tyler Boyer quote tweets the post by saying, I would adopt a Down syndrome baby tomorrow, hoping I get that opportunity someday. This is too sad for me to even wrap my mind around. And Phil says, you can literally call an adoption agency today and do it. And Tyler says, we have considered it for years. Unfortunately, I've been attacked in a witch hunt alongside the president for questioning the events surrounding the 2020 election. And Colonel Kurtz says, Lamau, you can't save a child from misery because you've been getting some bad PR? Well, sit down, sir. You are not a serious person. And Tyler says, no. I have been targeted for indictment like the president, and it has inhibited me from pursuing adoption with my wife for the past number of years. Sham anti-Trump witch trials have consequences beyond your brain-dead comprehension. The anarchist Chartle quote tweets in the post by saying, I'm as pro-abortion as they come, but getting an abortion specifically because you'd end up with a child with Down syndrome is some eugenicist nonsense. Just say you lost the fucking kid and move on with your life. And Howling Toad says, wokely, make sure your abortion is clandestine so as not to offend public sensibilities. The Speaker of the House of the United States, Mike Johnson, also quote tweeted McJuggerNuggets post by saying, in 29 days, we will celebrate the 250th birthday of our exceptional nation, which became the greatest of all because we were the first to declare the self-evident truth that all people are created equal by God. Not born equal, we are created equal. Because God made us all in His image, it means every single person has inestimable dignity and value. And our value is not related in any way to the color of our skin, what zip code we live in, what our talents are, our health condition, or any other factor. Our value is inherent, because it is given to us by our loving Heavenly Father. When a culture devolves to the point of depravity where influencers can go online and so casually dismiss the deliberate murder of their own precious child, the survival of that culture itself is at risk. God have mercy on our nation as we pray and work for an end to this evil, for hearts and minds to change, and for a renewed understanding of the self-evident truths and the sanctity of all human life. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1:5. And Trungle Sham says, you talking about being pro-life while you bomb children and supporting genocide, all while covering up a widespread abuse of children, is rich. Asmongold also continued to react in autistic clips and tweeted out with the caption, Asmongold fully supports aborting children that will have Down syndrome.
I completely support aborting kids that will have Down syndrome. I totally support it. I think it's the right thing to do. They're going to be a burden to society. They're going to have to be taken care of for their whole life. And again, like, I understand that this is the part where a lot of the, like, more moral people in my audience diverge. I'm really not. I'm not. I am very much a utilitarian. I'm very pragmatic. And whenever I see people that have Down syndrome or there's something fucked up about them, this is a person that will be a constant drain on society. They will only be a drain on society. And fundamentally, it's a tragedy. It's horrible. But sometimes making that decision is a mercy.
And Kenoblade Chronicles replies, Asmongold making a strong argument for aborting black babies. Lai replies to the clip by saying, he ain't wrong, but I'd rather have a chill Down syndrome kid than someone who grows up to be this guy. That Catholic guy says, streamer are a drain on society. T Disputations quotes the clip by saying, this is why secular arguments against abortion will ultimately fail. Secular culture is moving towards being okay with killing humans, if it's convenient. Big Bungie quotes the clip by saying, regardless of any take, the drain on society mentality is such a slave-brained take that only hollow men with no internal monologue possess. And J Fox says, it's true though. And Bungie says, measuring the worth of a human being based on how efficiently they can perform office labor makes you a bugman. And Waterburger says, okay dude, here's a choice for you. Do you care for a person for 40 years then die an early death because you drained yourself and this retard dies because there's no one to care for him? Or you try another time and have someone be a fully functional human being with a family? And Big Bungie says, you get the cards you're dealt. Now you have two options. Be the strong man and raise the retarded Adonis, or be the weak man who can't handle the pressure and crumble like an F. And Waterburger says, suffering for the sake of nothing. And Bungie says, if you wouldn't be willing to suffer for the sake of a human life, then realistically, what would you actually be willing to suffer for? Genuinely. I assume some sort of materialism like a cookie or something. And Waterburger says, don't you get it? You don't have to grow a pet that dies with you. You can bring to life a normal person, just like you and me, that will go on to have a family themselves and be happy and healthy. Does your argument come out of pride or egoism? And Bungie says, I think that not putting another's life above your own sense of comfort is a sign of mental and spiritual decay that would almost certainly mean any non-retarded kids you have would end up dysgenic as a result. Like, genuinely imagine living with a father who you know would sacrifice you in a heartbeat as soon as you become an inconvenience to him. Stakeholder Consultant tweets out this image with the caption, monitoring the discourse. And it is a political spectrum from far left to far right. And on the far left you have abortion is okay unless they have Downs, then it's bad. And the left of center, abortion okay, and then moderate, and then conservative, abortion not okay. For right of center, and then far right says abortion is not okay unless they have Down syndrome, then it's good. Zach Costello then tweets out these clips with the caption, well, if you didn't think this could get any worse, think again. Jesse Ridgway and his wife finding out that their child might have Down syndrome, which features his wife crying hysterically about it, was recorded and posted on his personal YouTube channel 1 month after he posted his brother telling him the Down syndrome test results on his main channel. This is an acting job. They already knew, and he has been grifting off these test results and the killing of his unborn baby for months now. In this first clip we already watched, but this second clip here is new.
You're confident. You know what it is. I don't know.
I actually have no idea.
You're.
All right. So Jeffrey said there is a result. We were just about to film it. He's like, so you did see a health thing?
Yeah.
What was it?
High risk of Down syndrome.
Really?
19 out of 21.
What's that mean?
So, it said high risk, probability 19 out of 20 people that have this chromosomal makeup on this test have Down syndrome. So it could be nothing.
Did 19 out of 20 have it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's... Alright. I guess we'll wait till after.
Nexus also tweets out this clip, continued of the clip we just watched, with the caption, nothing says loving husband, then filming your wife's very first reaction to sensitive news about your baby, and including dramatic music to make it more appealing for YouTube. What levels of psychopathy are these?
Yeah, Jeffrey said, and I don't... Maybe you could speak to this, but there's a Down syndrome chance for the baby, but it's like 95 out of 100% chance.
And Alulis tweets out of this a clip with the caption, Frank Stevens pleads for the humanization of people with Down syndrome. Studies suggest that 67 to 90% are aborted in the United States due to faulty prenatal screenings.
I am a man with Down syndrome, and my life is worth living. when my body was first forming. When the first two cells divided, each of them had one extra chromosome. People like me tend to be a little shorter because our arms and legs are shorter. Our faces are a little bit flatter because our cheekbones and noses don't stick out from our faces as much. All that adds up to a person who is a little bit uncommon. In my case, I got uncommonly handsome. Don't worry, I am very accepting, very inclusive. I won't think less of you just because I have more chromosomes than you do. I have been asked to tell you how to improve the lives of people with Down syndrome. The key is right there in my opening paragraph. It begins with, I am a man. See me as a human being, not a birth defect, not a syndrome. I don't need to be eradicated. I don't need to be cured. I need to be loved, valued, educated, and sometimes helped.
And Gavin McInnes quote tweets the post by saying, "The same people who are offended by the word retard are happy to wipe special needs people off the face of the earth." And Halls and the Kid says, "And the people who call each other and everyone else retards all night and day are vehemently defending the special needs people right to life." Justin Evan tweets out, "If any of you believe terminating a pregnancy to thwart the magic of raising a disabled child is okay, unfollow me, because I don't want you in my life. You can fuck yourself." And Vito quote tweets him by saying, "The magic of raising a disabled child. My autistic half-brother has to wear special clothes to prevent him from rubbing his own shit on the walls." And Officer Friendly says, "Good point. Are you going to kill him?" And Vito says, "No, but I definitely wish he had been aborted." And Realistic Dreamer says, "That is a horrible thing to say about your own brother." And Vito says, "It's the truth. He is a horrific burden who lives a pointless existence." And Alacrity says, "All human beings are intrinsically valuable." And Vito says, "Not this one." And Cactus 2 Jack 2 says, "So you're too cowardly to end his life yourself and wish someone else would have done it for you?" And Vito says, "Cowardice has nothing to do with it. Make it legal and I'll go in there with the pillow." And Cactus says, "I don't know what you thought cowardice was, but that's exactly what you just described." And Vito says, "It's so brave that you commit your entire life to taking care of a pants-shitting retard." Nosferatard replies to Vito's post by saying, "Valid point. I'm sorry he wasn't murdered in utero. Gotta be hard on you, bud." And Vito says, "You have no idea." And Ex-Mormon Speak says, "I have an idea. I'm glad your brother is alive." And Vito says, "I'm not." And Time Baby says, "How does it feel that your parents probably like him more than you?" And Vito says, "My father died in part from the spiral of depression from trying to care for him full time." And Time Baby says, "Oh good, you blame your disabled brother for the death of your dad. That's a totally not insane person behavior." And Vito says, "I am very clearly blaming the depression." And Time Baby says, "That the disabled brother caused, and you believe if they aborted your brother, your dad wouldn't have had depression. That's a fucked way of thinking, and I hope you get help one day." And Vito says, "He would still have had depression, but without this full-time burden, he may have survived it." And Time Baby says, "I'm sure he would be disappointed that you are celebrating his memory by wanting to kill his son." Representative Mary Miller tweets out this picture of her with a baby with a Down syndrome in the caption, "We thank God for our sweet grandson and the incredible blessing he is to our family. Born with Down syndrome, he reminds us daily that every life has inherent value, purpose, and dignity. We are also grateful for his 17-year-old birth mother, who chose life." And James Tate quote tweets him by saying, "It's easy to raise them when you are rich. Walk a day in my shoes. I'm raising money for my 8-year-old son James with Down syndrome to get to doctors, buy diapers, he will be in diapers till who knows, wipes, medical supplies, and to explore the world. He needs 24/7 care and I am his caretaker." And Astro Belmont replies, "Love all the people in the comments purposely misunderstanding him. He is not saying he regrets his disabled child. He is saying that y'all need to stop acting like raising a disabled child is easy and only takes a little more love." Jesse also went on TMZ, and TMZ posted this interview with the caption, "The influencer couple at the center of online controversy after ending a pregnancy following a Down syndrome diagnosis is opening up about why they chose to make their story public."
A very judgmental, religious-based, saying we're going to burn in hell. You know, we deserve to die. You know,
I don't deserve to be a mother because of, you know, the decision that we just made.
Sometimes when you record your lives in real time this way, it can take unexpected turns that can really be emotionally gut-wrenching. And I'm just wondering how you feel about the fact that you now have this all recorded, you've posted it, and it lives with you. I'm wondering what your reaction is about all that.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. I've been doing content for 20 years now. For the first half, it was a lot of fictional stuff like series and whatnot. There is an not an unexpected, but just a harsh turn in being so vulnerable on camera and sharing it. You know, you open yourself up to scrutiny. And with this topic, you know, we really wanted to let people in on our excitement to be first-time parents. And you know, we're met with the news, and we felt we still needed to be transparent with our audience, and then it's taken on a life of its own outside of our bubble.
And I feel like sharing what we have, you know, thus far is something I will never regret. I don't regret, you know, sharing our truth and our journey to starting a family.
I will say it was really difficult to watch both of you just break down for several minutes as you read the test results. Honestly, I felt like it was invasive. Like I shouldn't be watching this pain that this couple is going through like this.
Yeah, we grappled with that.
We did, but if, you know, this is such a common thing that happens, and I feel like if you were a fly on the wall with anybody receiving any type of news like this, that we reacted the same as everyone else. We just decided to share it.
And we really thought it was going to be good. So that's why we're filming it. People aren't showing this ever because it's so hard and you open yourself up to the bad. But I feel like the world is almost lacking in that vulnerability. With the death threats and everything, it has been shocking. Close people to us, very judgmental, religious based, saying we're going to burn in hell. You know, we deserve to die. You know,
I don't deserve to be a mother because of, you know, the decision that we just made.
Yeah, we had a gate installed. You know, I have a gun next to my nightstand because it's been getting so ridiculous. And they've been coming to emails, DMs, you name it. It's been, we've seen the darkest side of humanity through this process.
Hopefully you get pregnant again and everything works out. Are you going to be as transparent this time around as you were last?
I don't know. I'm still like living in this, obviously. So it's definitely something that we'll think about moving forward, but I never not want to be transparent.
And Ben as Iceloft replies that TMZ says the story of these parents was emotionally gut-wrenching. You know who literally had their guts wrenched? The baby they murdered. Jesse also makes a tweet saying, "I've never seen such hate and vitriol for two people grieving the loss of their unborn child and making an impossible decision. The last 24 hours have exposed a side of humanity that is deeply disturbing. Being called murderous pieces of shit, evil, compared to Hitler, and receiving non-stop death threats. Seeing my 6-year-old dog with stage 4 kidney disease be used as a weapon, manipulating my words and intent in a tweet, or saying we'll regret this decision forever and must repent to God is absolute insanity. If you ever wanted to marvel at the depravity of people online, just check the replies on my latest tweets. It's a shit show of epic proportions. This is reflective of the current world and landscape we're all living in. What's more troubling is a lot of these people use God or Jesus as their justification for threatening us and wanting to cast us into hell. It seems pretty hypocritical. So many saying they would have kept the child, put it up for adoption, or are suddenly ready to adopt a Down syndrome child. That's great. You can do all those things. However, many of the people throwing stones don't even have children, let alone one with a condition, and most likely will never do the things they say say they're going to do. There has been some heinous shit said about my wife and I on some extremely large accounts. It baffles me that there are such trashy ass people who have significant followings. If you can't contribute anything meaningful to the conversation aside from insults, then just don't post. On the other hand, there has been tremendous stories of people who kept their Down syndrome baby, and that's awesome. Very courageous, and they do look very happy. That is your choice and I support it. This was ours and we can do that. It's very easy to accept the differences between us when it has no actual bearing on your life. What shocked me the most of all was that the story has become mainstream news. A couple's abortion is suddenly newsworthy in 2026. There are over 1 million abortions every single year for a myriad of reasons. This is happening on a daily basis and is the most common outcome for trisomy 21. Yet this one blows up and people are surprised. The reason this blew up is quite simple. It's because nobody talks about it. I can't blame people for not talking about these vulnerable experiences publicly because you see the disgusting backlash that ensues. It's very divisive. Luckily, after 20 years on the internet, this is a part of the course for me taking on the crazies. So I'm glad I can help further the conversation. That's exactly why I wanted to share this story. People still need to see vulnerability and hear the raw truth. There is real suffering going on and it is being done in silence and fear. So many mothers have reached out privately commending us on our bravery to speak truthfully about this topic, and we really appreciate that support. We want you to feel less alone in this and less ashamed. There has never been a more important time to speak up and out about the things that matter. Do not let the vocal minority stop you from sharing your truth. To those who have been affected by this or are confronted with a similar situation in the future, we have your back and please feel free to reach out. I'm sure this will follow us a while, especially when we try for it again in the near future. A quick aside, be careful where you source your information online. Whether it's disturbing propaganda accounts, AI, rage-bait fearmongers, we're living in a complicated time and authenticity and empathy will be the most important currencies of the future. Anyway, I can't wait to see all these words get minced and twisted again so people can grow their feelings and stir outrage. It's a natural ecosystem after all. Bottom feeders have to get their meal too. Hopefully, our story has inspired others to open up more and we can all find understanding. At the end of the day, I'm grateful that the discourse about our decision has spread so wide. It's clearly a very important and sensitive topic, one that we need to pay more attention to. Thank you to everyone who has been supportive during this difficult time and defending our choice as parents. It means more than you'll ever know. Also, my wife is a badass. Not only did she go through this trauma, but she's dealing with all the freaks on the internet in stride. Love you, babe. Let's look to the future. And Asmongold replies, I originally defended you, but after looking at your channel, it is the most demonic amalgamation of sympathy slop and tragedy porn that I've ever seen. I can't imagine how much of a freak you would have to be to make content like that. Genuinely sick and depraved. McJuggerNuggets also continues to make more statements. He attaches this clip to this long statement here at the bottom of his wife in bed, and he captions it by saying, my wife's heart has been shattered since the amniocentesis results, which are definitive by the way, yet it has only gotten worse. These last couple of weeks have been the hardest of her life. It's times like these where you want to be able to depend on your family for love and support. This video is from the evening after the procedure. My parents drop off an extremely thoughtful gift basket and show unconditional love and support. Meanwhile, her family has been nowhere to be found. Some even going as far as joining in on the bandwagon hate publicly, kicking her while she's down at her lowest point. She has received text messages from her family accusing me of abuse and that I'm brainwashing her, issuing ultimatums that she needs to leave me immediately. Audacious shit that will have your head spinning because of the delusion and lack of consideration. Downright disgusting gossip and shit talking amongst important people in her life as if she's not even blood. No backbone, just cowardice, as they accuse me of making the decision and controlling / manipulating her over all the years of being together. We've put up with a lot of shit, but when it's your own family exercising their bitterness and turning their backs when it matters the most, it really reveals everything about their character. Hell, I've seen the worst of friends publicly joining in on the crusade despite full well knowing that behind closed doors, they would have made the same decision. I don't relish in sharing these things because it only furthers the divide, but when you're MIA, complicit and offensive during the hardest times of our life, then you will never deserve to be there when it's good. My wife is the sweetest and strongest woman I know. The last thing she deserves is to be treated this way. My heart goes out to all the women who have had to keep their abortions private for fear of judgment from friends / family. It's the last thing you should be dealing with when you're already confronting the hardest / worst of times. This is the sad reality. It's why I will continue to speak out. It's why sharing is better than hiding. The truth may be hard, but at least you're living freely. Do not ever let the opinions of others define your life, or else you will be living a life that's not yours.
What is all that?
Somebody dropped all this off for you.
What is it all? I see cookies. Oh my god, this thing's massive. Cookies. Pretzels. Was this your parents? Another bird. Oh, that's really sweet. Rest and relax.
Rest and relax. Oh.
I'm interested in these cookies.
Yeah, you haven't really eaten much.
No, but my appetite's coming back. These essential oils. Snuggable, huggable, and lovable. Weighted Duck says, life is tough, but so are you. This bracelet stands for the waves of life you've been through. Life is not always going to go as you had planned. Tides change and things go in different directions. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to ride them. May this bracelet make your heart stronger and remind you that love and support always surrounds you. That's really sweet.
And Literary Fanatic says, so her family has morals and your family supports the eugenics of their own grandchildren? Wild thing to put out here as a supposed W for them. Ginga says, you are absolutely abusive and have brainwashed her. Her family is right. You killed their grandchild. Unfortunately/fortunately, someday she will wake up and realize it, and I pray she finds forgiveness from God and her family. Ollie London tweets out this clip with a caption, YouTuber Jesse Ridgway, who aborted his baby because it had Down syndrome, says he is glad his own dad didn't abort him because he is, quote, normal.
Yeah, of course I'm glad my dad didn't terminate me. But I'm normal. So, but guys, thank you so much for an amazing stream.
And Street Cat says they made it up. She was never pregnant. Their entire channel is rage bait and clickbait. Fun Bucket replies with this picture of Jesse and Boogie2988 and a kid behind a camera with the caption, reminder, this dude is connected with these two fucks, which explains a lot. Gladrise also tweets out this clip of Boogie reacting to it on the McJuggerNuggets subreddit with the caption, Keemstar and Boogie talk about the McJuggerNuggets situation on Lockout Live.
I would say having an abortion takes I don't know. This whole thing's pretty messed up. Three months old. The baby's 3 months old.
Yep.
Pregnancy is 3 months old.
I believe that's the case. Yeah.
And you find out you have Down syndrome. You can definitely take care of it. But you decide to have an abortion, and then you decide to tell the internet that you do these things.
Which is the craziest part about it. Why tell the internet? I don't understand.
Yeah, Boogie, you're echoing a little bit.
I'm pretty sure he's echoing bad.
Yeah.
While he's saying I'm breaking up. I think this is kind of what evil is. I mean, this just looks like just what evil would be.
And Going Out Alone is Cool says, Boogie and Keem, the pinnacle of morality. Robbie Harvey also tweets out this old clip from Jesse's channel with a caption, after finding out they were pregnant, Jesse Ridgway's first call was to the most important person in the world, MrBeast.
As soon as I found out, I had to tell the most important person in the world.
I gotta share some news with you, dude.
What?
I'm gonna be a dad.
Oh. Damn.
You're like the first person I'm telling.
Real? Even though this is our first time meeting? Damn. I'm honored to know. You just found out she's pregnant?
A little bit ago, but we keeping it secret.
I couldn't think of anyone better to share the news with than MrBeast, baby. I had to get Jimmy on the phone and let him know the big news because I want him to be the godfather to the child. I mean, if you're gonna pick somebody, you want it to be somebody who has a lot of money.
And Sarah replies, now I definitely know this story is fake. The man is a homosexual. Bill DeWalt says, there's something very off-putting about him. Not just the murder part. Physically, he's repulsive. Jesse also tweets out this video with a caption, you were right this whole time. Maybe I should just stop posting?
Jesse, please stop talking. Just put your phone down. Don't post anything for a while. Go off the grid. Like, you're being canceled, dude. Like, that's what people are saying to me right now. And I'm like, guys, you don't get it. Like, you're crazy. This is exactly when you talk more about it. It's like when you're squeezing somebody's pressure point. They're like, no, make it stop. Like, no, that's when you keep going. You struck a nerve. It's something that matters. And I'm doing this not just for myself and my wife and my family, but for all the families, all the prospective parents, the women, the single mothers, the fathers who are confused confronting this situation, the ones that have been told to be silent. It's important that I encourage the conversation, keep talking about it, because I don't want the message and the takeaway to be like, yeah, you're going to get a lot of backlash for aborting a child, when there's, again, 1 million abortions every single year. They're just happening in the shadows. And I don't want people to think that, oh, we're just going to back down. You guys are right. Like, a lot of the pro-life people are wishing death upon me and my wife, which is hypocritical. And a lot of them use God and Jesus as their weapon and their justification. But, like, it doesn't matter to me because I'm not religious. don't believe in God. I don't believe in the Bible. Like, I haven't since I was 8 years old. And then I learned science and I was like, oh, that makes more sense. But I don't judge people for believing in it. I think that's great. If it's how you want to frame your life and your decisions, that more power to you. When you start to use it as a weapon, then it becomes problematic. People saying go to hell, it's like, it doesn't matter because I can't go there. I don't believe in it. And I just can't imagine I'll be ending up in a human personified place that has fire and brimstone and a man with a pitchfork. Like, I just don't buy it. And even for the religious folks, I mean, don't we believe in forgiveness? I mean, we've all sinned, right? So that you can just ask for forgiveness and things will be okay. I'm going to keep pushing, guys. I would encourage more conversation about this topic. I'm sure a lot of people that would even judge me are going to be confronting this potential situation, or trisomy 18, some of the other chromosomal abnormalities. It happens. I did not think it would happen to me, and here I am. Never in a million years did I expect to be a poster child for abortion. Because as a dude, it's not something you really confront. You know, we're just trying to be first-time parents, and it's been overwhelming. But I have to give a shout out to everyone that has supported us. And I'm going to keep talking because I fear for some fans or followers of mine or people coming into this, they kind of judge based off a headline, they miss context, and they're very impressionable, and they kind of just go with some vocal minority that is being just absurdly provocative. Like, it's absolutely crazy. I'm definitely going to do more videos like this one because I have too many things to say. I'll say it in another video. Anyway, I love you guys that have my back. This is crazy. And yeah, we're just going to keep rolling with it.
And Spexo replies, "You're justifying, exploiting, and profiting off murdering your own child. People don't need to be religious to see how evil you are." And Jesse says, "Bro, I get 20 pennies from X for sharing my life. Try harder." And Spexo says, "Are you implying you're not making as much money off this as people think you are? So it's not even about money. You're just exploiting child murder for the love of the game? Got it." And Radical Rose says, "You're here crying about it like a child. Grow the fuck up. It's his life. Something a random couple you'll never truly know did shouldn't have any effect on your life. If it does affect you, seek some mental help for real. Do I support abortions? No, I don't, but it's not my entire personality." Cash Mania replies to Jesse's original clip by saying, "Says the guy who said he's glad he wasn't terminated because I'm normal." Jesse, whether you're willing to admit it or not, psychological and behavioral wise, there is no such thing as a normal person. So no, you're not normal. You're just a person who doesn't have a condition. And Jesse says, "TMZ clipping for views. They know what they're doing. Normal was intended from a health standpoint, which is my whole basis." Brandon Wilson replies to Jesse by saying, "Abortions are a horrible situation to be in for everyone involved. It's one of those things in specific circumstances there's a no good or bad answer for. More than likely, your child would have died within the first few months of being alive. I've seen it happen to someone before." And Jesse says, "Correct. A high percentage in miscarriage or stillbirth, which puts Ashley at risk." And Denise Hopper says, "Neither of those things kill a woman. The only way miscarriage would kill a woman is if the baby stayed inside and decayed, and the chances of that happen are very slim. Are you really this dense? I think you're too stupid to have kids in the future. Get a vasectomy." Jeff Ridgway, which is Jesse's father, quotes the post by saying, "Speak your truth. Mom and I support your decisions. It's a shame that so many people have hatred in their souls towards people that had to make hard decisions. People need to worry about themselves and not sit in their glass houses and cast stones. Wait, I always thought God could only judge." And Jesse replies, "Thanks for battling the Speaker of the House for me, Lamau." Vikings Don't Chack now says, "Only God can judge." I'm so sick of that stupid phrase. Scripture doesn't teach total non-judgment. We are called to discern and judge action/behavior righteously, correct one another in humility, and hold each other accountable in the church. Kingman Lee says, "You support your son killing your grandchild? You're a failure as a father and grandfather." Shout out to our tier 3 members, internet representatives, Kiko Salsal, Codus Bandito, Captain Crash Out, Dearboy, Noobster, Mr. X, and Squunchmo. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you all in the next episode.